Hello again. This is just a super quick video just to discuss the movement at the joints. So we looked at the different types of joints like hinge, ball and socket, pivot, condyloid, and we know that joints are where two or more bones meet, and we know different types of movements, range of movements like flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, rotation. And now we're going to look at how this happens at joints, okay? So this is a triple jumper. I think his name is Gareth Edwards. He was a little bit before my time. And you've got to try and identify what the joints are, so the numbers. So number one, what joint is that? Number two, what joint is that, etc., etc. What type of joint it is, so hinge, ball and socket, pivot, condyloid, and then the type of movement, so flexion, extension, etc. So pause the video, have a quick go. Once you've done or done as much as you can, play the video and we'll go through it. So do that now for me. So we'll go through them now. So number one is his shoulder. You see at the top of his arm. This is ball and socket. So we know the ball and socket is the end of long bone goes into the socket. And here is abduction. So when it moves away from the midline of the body. So you can see his arms moving out to help him in flight as he jumps. Number two is the hip, which is another example of a ball and socket joint. And this is flexion, where the angle at the joint is decreasing because his legs come up towards his hip, the top of his legs come up towards his hip, decreasing the angle. That's flexion. Number three is the hip as well. But this time, again, ball and socket, but this time his leg going down and straight. And that's extension. The angle has increased at the joint. Number four is the knee. So you can see his right knee. This is a hinge joint. And we know the hinge joint provides movement forwards and backwards. And this is flexion as well, because his knee is, the angle is decreased at the joint. And then number five, his elbow, another hinge joint, and again there's flexion there. And then the same again with number six with the knee, hinge, and then again flexion there. And then we'll just look at another example. So same again, write the name of the joints, joint classification, and the type of movement at each. Pause it, have a go, and then play the video when you're done. Right, now you've done that, let's go through it. So number one is his shoulder again. We know, we just discussed ball and socket, and there's abduction happening there. His shoulder's moving away. It's moving up a little bit, you can see. Whereas in number two, again the shoulder's still, and again it's a ball and socket joint, but it's adduction because the arm is moving towards the midline of his body. So it's coming towards the middle of his body. Number three is the wrist. This is the first example we've seen of the condyloid joint classification. This is allowing rotation. So it looks like he's about to, or he's about to hit a backhand topspin shot. So his wrist will flick over the ball, so when it lands it spins up at his opponent. And that's been allowed to happen due to rotation in his wrist in the condyloid joint. Then we look at the elbow. We know that's the hinge joint, and that's allowing flexion because the angles is decreased between the joint. Then number five, hip again, ball and socket, this is allowing flexion. And then we can look at the last one, the six, which is a knee, which is the hinge joint, and there's flexion there as well. And that's just it. This really quick video just to give you some examples, and hopefully you can remember those if they come from the exam. Well done guys, see you later.